so he been inviting other guitar players and jamming with them. He got some program that he ain't made public yet. Cause I tried to ask and it has like a, yeah, I signed an NDA, I can't tell you, blah blah blah. One day it'll come out. But they were doing like unison, like Iron Maiden style unisons in like different parts of the world, and I was like, what the fuck, how you do that, you know? Like there's several types of jam software that I looked around and stuff, but I don't know if any of them enable you to do like almost that quick the way he was doing it.
Gotcha.
Boom. Did you want to live
Okay.
stream it too?
Whatever you want, man.
Yeah, like whatever. Yeah. Alright. Alright. Hit start. So now we live too on the Twitch for all the no one to watch. So
Okay.
but yeah, man. Boom. We here, we live. I'm here with the ripped up shirt. Because the struggle is real. Come
Okay.
here. Now that we started, the dog's here too. So you can see that.
Okay.
That everybody's
Was
coming
she
for
there
the
when I
party.
was in Texas, or he, whatever? Were they there?
Yeah. But so when you came over, okay, so when you mean when you did the cajon, right? The cajon. That thing was the last time
Yeah,
you were in this
cajon and
place.
drum set. Yeah.
That's interesting. I'm not sure. I want to say yes, but maybe just not in the house at that moment. Yeah, I don't really know.
Okay.
Maybe it was the summer. In the summer, sometimes they go to the East Coast and they take the dog with them. So,
Okay.
yeah, man. Struggle. Man. When's the last time you played any musical things?
Oh man, like I mean technically I have a keyboard that I like mess with, but like actually doing it like I guess seriously or whatever was
Yeah.
since January 20 2018? No, 2019. Because
So
that's
what does that mean? So what does serious in January mean versus messing with?
as far as like that, I just mean like where I actually like went in the shed and I was like just like practicing, like actually trying to practice kind of thing
Yo, you got a shed?
versus
You got like a grind
well,
room?
nah, nah. Yeah, yeah. It was some practice like well it was like storage spaces
Yeah.
and I was splitting it with Mason and his band like had it
Mm.
for themselves. Plus like another drummer too from like Boston had it. It was
Damn.
like 10 people sharing.
Space is at a
It wasn't
premium over
really
there.
10, but yeah,
Space. Yeah.
yeah.
So y'all all
Dude,
got.
it was literally like rent money basically. So yeah, we were splitting it.
Damn. Do you still do that?
No, no.
Okay.
Yeah, so essentially that January I was kind of getting low on funds. I was like, so I told Mason, I was like, look, man, I don't really have money to pay you anymore.
Plus,
So
is
I was
it
like, I think I'm gonna have to like cut cut off for a little bit.
got you?
Uh,
Cause
but
just from talking to you, yeah, music isn't like that high on the list too. And maybe it's just cause of
mhm.
me and the world I'm in. Like when we talk, usually you talk more about beats now anyway, not so much. Yo, I'm gonna play drums in this band, and like the old days, and shit, So,
Yeah,
so yeah,
yeah, nah, yeah. I mean, I don't know if Trevin is still here, but the piano guy that I used to play with, Michael Kelly and Dylan,
yeah.
uh, he was here. I don't know if he's still here or not, but I was supposed to continue like the group or his stuff up here
Mm,
with him with like a new group, but
got you.
yeah, it just kind of was just too busy, and then
Real
it's
life,
like, how
man.
do you practice? Like, it's harder to practice up here. Like, literally, you have to rent a space with your band, at least in my mind, or if you have your own like
Cause
place, I
no one
guess you
has
could get
houses,
it.
right? No one has.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
No one
so
has
it's just
houses,
like,
and you probably don't have space for like for that. Like, yo, this is just the music room or some shit, you know?
yeah. So I told him basically it all kind of happened. It's probably like happened in different sections that this all happened, but it all was all around that time where I just slowly was like, yeah, I don't think I have time for the music
Mm.
thing. I still have my cajon here, but I mean, like I've used it just to, like sit down on.
You should I mean, if it even interests you, you should find a group where you can literally be like a percussion add-on. That way you don't really gotta think, like per se, like spend like the only time you really
Mhm.
gotta put in is maybe like the performance, Um
Yeah,
and just kind of freestyle adapt and not so much you're not the lead or anything. You're not the important, and since you're an add-on, you're second percussion. I don't know what the real terminology is for that, but you're like the second percussion, so it's like you're not even keeping the groove of the band, so you can just kind of fill space
yeah, just throw stuff in there.
that
I
way.
could,
Yeah,
um, but I guess you are right. Right now, I haven't felt the desire for it.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I've just been trying to push myself to do beats, but then like I'll spend like 3 hours one day and then I don't touch it again for like 2 months,
And
and
that's
I'm
fine
like,
too.
okay,
That's fine
I'm
too.
gonna try again. But
Look, that's why
yeah.
we made the beat battles, because right now, in terms of the musical stuff that does interest me, like um it isn't that, but the beat battles, at least that once a week, at least get something off, and then I won't do nothing until the next one, and that's it. Like, because if I am gonna do something musical, I'll probably right now rather learn about something related to the guitar, and that's kind of it. I don't really want to do any beat stuff right now. Like,
How are you approaching the learning the guitar stuff? Because I know you're
I,
always talking about trying to do like crazy stuff like all these
so
metal guys.
I have stuff written down, and I've dabbled in it, but I'm not doing it diligently every day like I wanted to. Like, but
Yeah.
so one of the first, and I'm trying to just do it in order. Like, there's probably two things, because there's a bunch of steps and stuff that I have written down in a few books, but I look at it like that, and it's just overwhelming. It just makes me not even want to try. So, cause it's just like crazy
Yeah.
shit. Like, how am I ever be that good? Blah blah blah. And it just makes you not want to do it. Like, I'm gonna make beats. It's just 4 bars. Like, I'm done. But
Yeah.
so I do got a bunch of shit. But right now, there's like two main things I'm focused on. I guess three, but the third one's a technique. Like, I was trying to do the thumb. Here's the camera. The thumb finger stuff. So like down up stuff, but slapping with the first two. But yo, this
Oh, okay.
callus has been the hardest callus I ever had to earn in my life. So I can't even practice that every day. Like, it's crazy. It's not at all like the guitar. The guitar, you can kind of like stop. Like, the first time you're playing, you can stop today and start again tomorrow. But yo, I was doing it like
Mm,
every day for a few days, and I was like, yo, this don't feel good at all. It's just like pain. So like, and
yeah.
these fingers got it pretty quick, and it was fine, but like this one, like, you gotta earn it. And maybe it's just because the guitar is a bit sharper on the high things, and I'm trying to do it on all 6 strings.
Hmm.
Normally a lot of them are like 7 or 8 stringers, and they're just sticking to the low end with it, but I kind of want to just be able to do it on all of them. Assuming I think it's possible. But, and to be fair, I don't even know what I'm
Hmm.
gonna do with that, but I just feel like it's a unique thing, and not a lot of people have it. So at the very least, I'm after some unique stuff, like unique sounds and timbres, that I could do, that not too many people can do, especially in my pocket. No one's doing that in my pocket. Even if they play guitar, no one's playing that shit. So I used it once in a beat battle, and yeah, I got like some cool pops and snaps. It's like no one's gonna have that in a beat battle. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
so it at least gives me something unique. That's the only technique. Everything else I'm trying to do is better understanding. So, um, you ever heard of this dude Rick Beato?
Mm-mm.
So he's like one of the many guitar YouTube people, but I think he's probably up there. Like if you're in that world, I think everybody knows of him. Um, and so he puts out a bunch of good videos, and I got like a book and a ear program from him. Um, but again, as he puts out, there's just so much shit that it just feels overwhelming. So I'm just picking some things, and I kind of get. I'm slowly starting to get it that like it seems like as you learn some things, even though it looks overwhelming, everything's kind of connected anyway. So they'll make more sense as you learn more. And because I think looking at the far, like at more stuff that you would learn later, it just seems like, how does anybody memorize all this shit? Because unfortunately, his answer for everything is, you just gotta memorize everything. I'm like, that sounds intimidating as fuck. I was like, I don't want to do this, you know what I mean? But yeah. I think like as I see some of the relationships between like the modes and the scales, it's like it does sound intimidating, but I think once you see versions of them appear again and again, it makes more sense. You know, like I think it's a combination of understanding and memorization. So like the two things I'm just focusing on, I keep pushing that away from me and saying that. The other thing he's been doing is he's been putting like videos out that says as much guitar as I can teach in an hour, or as much theory as I can teach in an hour. So even though I have his bigger stuff, I kind of been taking that because a lot of it starts from 0 and then expedites till the hour happens, you know? And I'm like, all right, let me do that. So in the guitar one, he had it's an hour and up to about 20 minutes. I was like, I kind of knew 95% of everything he was talking about. And then around 20 minutes, then it started getting like stuff. So I was like, all right, let me start from here. I took some notes and I have the video downloaded and saved and everything. And he had the triads on the high strings. And I knew that already. But then he was like, all right, learn all the triads on every set of 3 strings. And I was like, all right, I don't actually know that like that. Like I've played with that in my head, but I don't know that. So I was like, that's one of the things I want to I'm like going right now. It was that, and then I saw another video about like another thing that seems intimidating is like scale patterns. But there was one video that was saying like that broke it down to super small, that like depending on where your finger starts, it always ends in the same place. So it kind of almost brought every pattern to like 3 patterns. And he's like, you just got to learn those 3 patterns, and then it doesn't really matter where you are. It's always going to be one of the 3. And if you're in pentatonic, then it's one of the 2. So I was like, all right, let me start with pentatonic. Just 2. Like, and then see where that goes. And those are kind of the 2 things I was going to focus on right now, the 3 triads. And then whenever I'm done with the 3 triads, I have something else written, whatever is the next thing. But I think that was then in versions of all of those 3 triads, you know, and then so on and so on. And then it just builds on itself. And then he says himself, like, as you start learning all these, then even the soloing and arpeggios make sense because you inadvertently end up learning the chords just by doing all this shit too much. You know what I mean? So I'm hoping some of that comes through. Because I was talking to Andrew Maley. Oh, I can't remember if you said you knew him or not.
I don't know. His name sounds familiar, but I don't think. Maybe you introduced me one time in passing, but I don't think I really knew him. Like knew him because he was one of the older guys, right?
Yeah,
like from way back in the day, like when C1 was still like running the program.
Yeah, the OG days. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But like we're talking to him and stuff, and it was just like, you know, the other thing I'm not necessarily even concerned with, because you hear a lot of these guys I'll show you, and they're definitely fast and shredders, and I'm like, I'm not even concerned about the speed, you know. I just kind of want the knowledge, and like even doing that stuff slow is still cool, you know. And yeah, like I just kind of want to do more interesting sounds, like even the little bit, like the vague understanding that I've played with, and like I think it was like Lydian. I was in C Lydian because I think it was just E minor, but now it's you know, it's the same exact notes as E minor. So I was like, oh shit, I like know this already, because that's like, to me, E minor is like default guitar. Like, that's the default guitar scale, you know, like assuming you don't change the tunings and whatnot. And just playing it like that, I was like, yo, this is, to me, because I think Lydian's a major scale if I'm not wrong. And I was like, this is the first time major don't sound corny and cheesy. And I'm like, that's dope. Because I feel like major, pure major always sounds like corny. That was one of the things that even avoided me from playing it. But I was like, apparently you raise, I think it's a raised fourth. You raise 1. now it's not, now it doesn't suck no more. You know, and I was like, that's all it took was like, so just to be able to do cool shit like that and not be like just for me, like I need to do that shit for me. I know it may not help in whatever sales and making it, because who the fuck knows how that shit works unless you're just trend hopping, you know. But like yeah, I like if I don't do that stuff, I feel like it's just boring to me now, you know. Like the idea of Splice, I haven't tried it yet officially, but I did try Arcade, and those things just don't excite me making music like that, you know. You know.
Yeah. Nah, I I understand that feeling because I have Splice and I feel like I'm more like, but I want to like create this sound
Yeah,
on my own.
yeah,
Like I want
exactly.
to be messing around with
Yeah,
settings and like somehow figure it out, like and be like, oh, like I don't know how messed with like all these settings or like the plugins and shit, and be like, oh, like I like this sound that I just created. Versus when I pull up the Spice stuff, I'm like, oh, it sounds really good. And some stuff feels like it's kind of like sparking my interest, but then when I really try to use it, then I'm like, okay, it just feels like I just pasted a sound in here.
yeah.
And I'm like,
Like,
what? Just copy and paste.
there was
But
a moment like so that's what I'm saying. Like I try not to hate on it as much. Like,
yeah,
but it's more for the people who like it's an ends to a mean. I get it. If you need to make 100 beats because beats is your money, then I get it. That's fine. But
yeah,
like I want to make cool shit, and I want to be the one making the cool shit. I just don't want it, because I'm quite aware a lot of the shit I might like, you know, might just be like that, and that's fine. I don't care, you know, if I'm just
yeah,
listening. But if I'm doing it, I need to. I want to be more a part of the making of the cool shit. I remember, and sometimes I can be like too much too Abrahamy and just say the truth. But I remember I was at my friend's house, and I guess he kind of made some of the, yeah, he made the beat without me, but he's showing me the Ableton session, and I'm hearing it, and I was like, oh, this is kind of dope. And
mhm,
I kept asking him about the keyboard section or whatever, and then lo and behold, like I found out like that it was just a Splice sample, you know. And I was like, yo, the main
yeah,
thing I like of this song, because I didn't really like his drums, was the part that he had nothing to do with. And I am aware that that's still his taste, and he had to curate that and pick it, whatever. But I was like, you know, like
yeah,
kind of my impressionist kind of went down, because I was like, well, that just leaves me with these drums, and like, I didn't really like the drums too much, but I was like, but that's the only part that he kind of played himself, you know, was just the drums, you know.
yeah,
Um, and you know, I know, and both, whether it's like in our circles or in the real ones, I know there's a lot of people that's all they do. And, you know, that's fine. I just want to be able to do the cool shit myself. You know, that's it.
yeah. And I think like yeah, because I have watched videos of people use the different platforms and they create cool stuff where I'm like, man, this sounds really good. Like I don't even know if I could do this like using just the library or the sound samples and stuff uh like I think you were mentioning, right, Arcade. Like I think, unless I'm confusing it with a different platform, but I think I watched a few videos of people like basically create a full like beat with just using this stuff on Arcade.
I had a tough time
And it
doing that,
sounded,
by the way, but I think it's because of me. Because I think naturally I don't want to do that. I think
yeah,
I was the problem in that equation. That's why I couldn't
okay.
do it. Because I've seen a lot of videos too. I thought it would be easy, but I think it was me, because I think I was angry, like internally, that I want to do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, but I mean, in some ways you can argue maybe that takes some sort of skill too, right?
It
Figuring out how
does.
to
It
use the
does.
tools
It
that are
does.
there for you to use.
It does. It does.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I just like yeah, it's like it's weird because it is like they are producing cool stuff that sounds good, and
Yeah.
it's like, well, I mean, you're using this the right way because it does sound good. Because when I copy and paste into my stuff, I still think it sounds like crap. So it's like it doesn't feel like it's changing much on my end.
So
But
I'll say this, because I always like to say this, because sometimes it sounds like I'm just shitting on today, like old man. I think the more important skill today, if the goal is like making it or just sounding good, is sound design. It seemed like
Mhm.
everybody's real good at sound design. And that's probably one of my weakest things too, to be fair. But I think everybody's real good at sound design because they just take whatever is there and they make it sound real good or better than it was that they even took, whatever sample they took, you know?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's true.
sound design. Boom. Yeah, I'm spending 37% of my CPUs on this Discord call. I'm still on the old one. I'm not on the new one I
Yeah,
showed
yeah.
you. Because I was like, why am I moving like this? That's probably there's probably a few reasons, but I just feel like stuck. I don't feel real right now. Like the camera just seemed crap. Like
Yeah.
you're moving smooth, even though it's still like low
Oh,
detail.
okay.
You're moving. You might not be moving smooth when you watch the reflection I'm giving you, but
Yeah.
I'm just like I feel like I'm moving like at like 16 frames. You know, some crazy
Ye-
shit.
Yeah, there is like some like what is it like blurriness to it? And like what is it called when it like trails? The video like trails a little bit?
Part of
Not
that
extreme,
might
but
be
I don't know if
because
that's also because of me, like
yeah.
you were saying, I'm doing the feed.
So I think that was it. Like I just turned it off the exposure because
Uh,
I'm blowing it up for the light so that so that I'm not in the shadow. But by blowing it up like that, I move like a whatever the hell I'm moving like. It's the tech struggle, dog. Tech struggle.
yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. So I know I'm gonna be bouncing back to the guitar thing.
Do
I
it.
think it's interesting. You are right that I think ultimately, like getting better overall, it is just like finding the patterns and stuff. And
Mm.
then sometimes it is just doing it and somehow it ingrains in your brain and like
I'm
you
hoping
just
for
kind of
that because
pick it up
I
at
really
some
don't want to
point.
memorize all this shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like it was like so there's like two instances where I've felt moments where I just realized like it was just in my mind or it was in like one of my students' mind without forcing having to like memorize something kind of thing.
Mm.
Like like the first example was when like all that oral skill stuff where I started being able to just kind of hear the chord progression and just like be able to know that this is what it was kind of thing. Now I don't have that skill anymore and I didn't keep working on it, so
Yeah.
like it got lost right away. But I remember when I was like at the end of those courses, I was like, oh, I can just like hear it. I'm not even like really having to pay attention to every single note like initially where I was like trying to listen to the root note or like the top note to like help me figure out what the chord was, right? I could just like hear it and I was like, oh, okay, this is what it is. Uh, and then the other thing is like hearing like maybe you already feel you have this, but just hearing the form and like tunes and stuff, like like I don't know, like the form of like 4 or 8 or when the tune song's gonna change without having to really like count every single bar kind of thing. Uh
Sometimes depends on the
yeah.
song. I've
Okay, well,
I've been doing these live stream church songs. I've been doing these live
mhm,
streams for the church last couple of weeks. Um,
okay.
and yeah, they be playing this stuff, and like that's not my wheelhouse. So sometimes, but every now, I guess, even the guy was pointing out, man, if you pay attention, you'll hear it. And he's like, I guess it's just not my natural music that I hear more, but in the stuff I'm more hearing again and again, yeah, at this point you could hear like this is gonna happen, and that's gonna be when that happens.
Yeah.
You were
Yeah,
talking
so I
about
had
say
yeah, I had a student who I think he was like 8, maybe 8 or 9. I don't remember. Anyways, I remember his dad was like worried, like, oh, he needs to count every bar, right? Every bar. And I was like, well, he's kind of doing it without having to count out loud or like watch every, because I had most of my students read the music while they were playing, so they
yeah.
would get used to it. And you know, at some point they just kind of memorize it on their own. I never really like taught of like you need to now memorize this. It was just always like, let's just play. You read the music, and then the more they played it and listened to it, like they just kind of memorized it on their own. Uh, but I remember, yeah, like their dad was like kind of getting upset with their kid because he wasn't wanting to count at home. And when he was in the class with me, I was like, well, he's doing it on his own. Like I was like, it's hard to explain because I also couldn't explain how I can hear when it's 4 bars or 8 bars, right? Or the
Yeah.
12 bars have passed without having to be like 1 bar, 2 bars, 3 bars. Like I told him, like if he's hearing it, like I'd rather not like question him or have him try to describe it because if he's feeling it now and it's not wrong, then that means somewhere in his brain there's like the connection has already been made. So
He made it. He
I
linked
do,
it.
yeah. And I mean, of course, there has to also be like work put into it. And at some point, you have to sort of analyze stuff in order to dive deeper, right? But I do think sometimes it takes just, like they say, you just kind of go through it, go through the motions, like put in the time, and then like not think too much about it all the time. Because I think sometimes when you think too much, then you overanalyze
Mm.
uh, what you're trying to accomplish. But I think that over analysis usually should come a little later. Um,
I think that's true because I think in the beginning,
yeah,
like for me, for a lot of this, it causes a stagnation because you're just overwhelmed because you don't even know, so you're
yeah,
just imagining the worst case scenario.
exactly. Yeah, like you're trying to understand why someone can do something or why they understand it without you really being at that level, you know?
Yeah,
So it's like, yeah, you're right. You're just causing yourself stagnation because you're trying to dive into deeper levels that you don't really need to be in quite yet.
yeah, yeah. You mentioned Earl skills earlier, and I bought an ear training thing from Rick Beato, and
Oh yeah, why did you buy that?
because all right, so I'll go into so first off, like seeing some of it now, I was like, yo, this is kind of like oral skills again. It just reminded me of that. But the thing is, like, he has these videos, man, where even he says it all the time in his theory. He's like, he has these videos where that I guess have made him popular of late. I've only seen like one because I don't think I need to see too many more because he's usually hearing modern day music, like the top 20 pop Spotify songs or the top 10 metal songs, rock songs. And
Hmm.
he's, I like to believe people are being honest. So he's just hearing these songs for the first time ever. And he's playing it with a guitar, and then he'll just hear it and just start playing it immediately. And it's just like on first listen, the song didn't even loop yet. The 4 bars didn't even loop yet. And it's part of what you were saying,
Yeah,
like before. And so I guess he gets a lot of comments like, why can he do this? And he's like, look, man, like, um, one, he's like, this is pop music, so more often than not, like, there's only so much they can do.
yeah,
And then he's like, the other thing is like, look, it's the ear and the theory training. He's like, um, if you kind of, he's like, you don't even got to max out to 100, where he has like all these like, the more complicated stuff, like, I don't know, like
hmm,
11s and 9s and shit, and hearing that off your ear or whatever. But he's like, if you kind of just get it up to the seventh chord, like, you probably like good for pop music. He's like, and he's like, yeah, but you gotta be able to, like to hear it. So I was like, all right, man, let me test this shit out. And I started doing a little bit of it. I backed off since because I felt like, man, I think I need to get some of this single note stuff down because I was doing some like I took it from his thing, but I guess he had like an interval thing where, you pick whatever the note is, right? 0 or 1. And then you just do all the intervals from it. And I noticed I was having a hard time because I was like, naturally, I just always see everything or hear everything through the minor scale. And it was like I couldn't even imagine a half step because I keep going to like 2 on the minor scale. And I was like, yo, I gotta like beat out the minor scale because I need like to chromaticize my mind a little bit so I can at least be open to some of these other notes. So when I do practice, I'm
hmm,
kind of trying to get more in tune with that so that I can and then move on a little bit. Because yeah, I couldn't some of these notes I couldn't even fathom. Like I had to like keep playing it and then mimic it first, you know what I mean? Because my head wouldn't go there. I would just go to the next note on the minor scale and that's it.
yeah.
So
Gotcha.
But yeah, no, I figured like that stuff would be dope because then anytime I think of shit, I could just play it off my head like immediately, versus
Hmm.
having, because even right now, if I think of something dope, I gotta like figure it out first. You know what I mean? Like, and that like
Yeah,
slows me
yeah.
down. That slows me down. Then I might forget it or whatever.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
yeah,
Do you, but do you feel that you've been consistent in your approach
what
to
is what does that
getting the
mean? Do you think I'm
skills you want?
practicing daily, or is that?
Uh, maybe, or maybe are you
I think there's value in what I'm
actually
doing.
taking,
I'm not doing it consistent yet. I feel like that's the answer.
okay.
I think if I was doing it, I think these things would benefit. I think knowing even the simple thing I mentioned before, knowing the three chords, um,
Hmm.
the triads on all sets of all three of three strings on all of them, just moving them. I was like, yo, even for like beats, like I could just do variations on here and that I normally probably wouldn't do, and that would just open
Yeah.
up a whole world right there. I was like, I could stop my training already. I was like, but so yeah, I think there's value to all of this, but I'm not practicing it consistently now.
Mm.
That hasn't been on the forefront. But when I do music, that's usually what I do. So like I haven't been doing any music like this right now. That's why it is good to have the beat battles, because at least at least once a week, I'm gonna take an hour and do some nonsense. And yeah, at least I got to do something. And it's crazy looking
Yeah.
back because like I was you remember Ralph? Did you remember Ralph? The mod he was
Trumpet player, right?
so he did play
DJ?
trumpet. I never got to see that, but I knew him more because he was
Okay.
the Seabald monitor, like lab monitor, like the OG one.
Yeah.
So I went to his house, I think like a month or so ago, and yeah, I just kind of like set the computer and I played this just from August, dude. Just like I played all the beats that I've done in any beat battle, like, and we were just like cooking stuff. And I was like, fuck, I made a lot of shit. I had no idea. Like, and I was like, man, it's kind of dope. Like, yeah, so like it's just cool at least once a week, like to get on it and at least like if I ain't making stuff, make some. That's it. And then the cool part too, even though it's not many of us, I do like that everybody, whoever shows up, Tomas or Willis, those are the main ones. Um, and they do whatever they do, and then they show the works in progress at the end. Whatever they're actually working on, and we kind of share it
Hmm.
with each other. I feel like that's kind of dope. It's kind of this like little baby. It's probably what all the collectives we probably tried to do when we were younger. That it's probably what it should have been. It should have been more like that. Like, hey, here's what I'm working on, and if people have thoughts, they say it. Like that's it. So it's kind of dope.
Yeah.
Um, so I feel like this is like a nice little music meeting. That's it. Like for like an hour or two a week. But
That's cool.
yeah, man. Yeah, you
So
got
then
break.
if music,
What's up?
huh?
Now, what were you gonna say?
If music is not the priority right now, what is the priority?
Well, if we talk short term lately, um, yeah, I was trying to decipher like the puzzle of which way to go with new computer and all that nonsense. Even last night, I was still watching a couple of more vids for the finalization of what I want to do. Like, I could totally understand a world where money's no concern. Like, yeah, just buy that shit. Just buy, like, because you end up putting a lot of time where you wouldn't, because I'm building it. Like, so I want to do it, and then I'm
Yeah.
trying to make sure that I really don't want to open it again for a while. So like
Mm.
I just kind of want to build it and shit. So I've been kind of finalizing baby stuff lately. But yeah, a lot of that, and then a lot more like life stuff. Like because in my head I feel like, man, if I just fix this, I feel like everything else will fall into place.
If you fix your computer?
No, this my head. I was pointing to my head. I was
Oh,
pointing my
okay.
head. But maybe that too. Maybe that too. Maybe that too. Maybe the computer is a metaphor for my life. But yeah, no, I meant my head. I feel like everything else will fall into place. So a lot more of that stuff, the health stuff, both mental and physical. I fell out of shape like last September, so I've been starting to get on that more, daily yogas and all this stuff, you know. But yeah,
Yeah.
like I've kind of like accepted. I think earlier in the year, like music is gonna be it's always gonna be like a big part of my life for whatever reason. But also like I don't really need it to make any money either. You know what I mean? Like it don't need to be that profiteering thing, you know. That
Mm.
maybe as a youngster I might have wanted, you know. So so it's always like there. Like I'm always looking at it, even if I'm not working on it. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
now like exploring, well, what are the other options then for some of these? I find them boring for now, but more like, you know, things I should be doing for life. You know, like that type of stuff. You know. So,
And what are those things?
you see, I think I don't want to say it here. That part, yeah, like that
Okay.
part. Not yet. Not till
Okay.
they more
That's fine.
exist more. Okay, I was thinking.
Okay.
I've done a few gigs lately, so like video stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, those are cool because yeah, I don't yeah, they've been cool. I shot a orchestra concert at Trinity. Um,
Okay. How'd
I
that come?
it should pay real good, but they haven't requested the edit yet. Still waiting on that. Like they have to do the
Mm.
audio first, and it seems like they're not gonna decide till June. And then I can't because they did like multiple takes. They take
Wait,
that shit
what?
way too seriously, dude. Like it's like it's, I don't know, man. Like me, like I have a very loose thing when it comes to like, but I know that's me, and everybody got their own thing. Because I was like,
Mm.
basically, I can't work on it till you guys do the audio first, because they did at
Mm.
least 2 takes of everything, and they won't know till they hear it, because you know they want the perfect presentation. And they're even talking about splicing, and I was like, really, like splicing orchestra shit? I was um,
Oh, wow.
like taking like, yo, we did the ending of take one really dope, but just put it at the end of take two, you know? And I was like, is
Yeah.
it that serious? I was like, that
Damn.
seemed annoying for me because I was like, this is like orchestra stuff. This ain't beats, you know? like, so to be doing that. So I think like literally if the notes say that's what they did in the audio, I'm like, wow, so I gotta take really the video of that sucks. I did like 4 cameras. So I was like,
Oh, damn.
so we'll see. So we'll
Okay.
see. But hopefully I could do more of those because it don't seem like a bad gig. Um,
How'd you get the gig?
so yeah, so I ain't been advertised. It's just people I know from back in the day that know I do concert videos. And then the same guy got me to do so this was funny. I went to my first concert like with people because I've done a bunch of stuff last year and this year, but they were always closed off because of COVID. So I went to my first concert. Um, and funny enough, it just gave me the feeling like the more things change, the more they stay the same. So it was at something called Charity Bar. I've never been there. You ever heard of it?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like an outside venue, so that's why they did it. Um, but still, it was the first thing I was with people, and I see who's playing. I didn't know anything. All they asked me was like, "Yo, can you film this?" And I just said, "Yeah, I don't need to know anything." So I just show up, and it's Lonely Horse, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" um, I just hadn't heard that name in so long, you know. Like, and it's funny because I filmed the guitar player a month before at another gig, but he's a guitar in that ensemble, if you want to say, because it was very artsy. So it's
Mm.
not even normal music. It's like a artsy thing. But like, I haven't seen the actual Lonely Horse in like who knows when. Even at that concert, they say they hadn't played a show in like 2 or 3 years. So I guess they haven't even been doing it either. It was like their comeback thing. Somebody told me that sold out in like 5 minutes, and that they had to add extra seats. So I guess it's still like locally a hot thing, you know. But yeah, so what was it? Oh yeah, and then someone yells out my name because I get me. I if I'm working something, I just kind of, I just walk in confidently. I guess I ain't waiting for no line or nothing. And it was Libby. Remember her?
I don't know.
It don't matter, but
Do
like
I know Libby?
she's like somebody who's usually in charge of like putting on events around here, you know.
Was she part of
She was part
the
of
San Antonio
SATX.
Collective?
Like I think it was called SATX Music.
Hmm. Curly hair?
No, but it don't
Oh,
matter.
okay.
But either way, like
It doesn't matter.
yeah, it was just like, she's someone I would expect to see there, and I was like, that's wild. Like you're here too, Lonely Horse here too. I was like, it just felt like I'm going back in time, you know.
It's not like 10, 15 years ago.
It did, yo, and like all of them been in there that long. You know, whether it's me, whether it's the sound guy who booked me, whether it's the band or her, yeah, they've all been doing it. So it just felt like this is wild. Like my whole journey is, and I'm still here. Like I'm back here. I
Yeah.
was just like, I was like,
Dude, I don't know how, like, it's just weird how much of that stuff has evolved and yet not changed
yeah. Well, that's
in
why
some ways. Like,
I like I want to try to be uninsulting as possible, which is not like me. But I mean, like, but like that's
yeah.
why, like, right now, at least for now, maybe I'll change. I'm not trying to go to gigs, and I talked with Andrew about this. He kind of disagreed with me a little bit, at least for him. But I was like, look, I'm not trying to go to gigs unless people pay me. Like, I really don't want to be at them right now. Like,
Mm.
because I have a friend, like, yeah, so Xylo plays there on Fridays. And he'd been trying to get me to come out. He's like, it's free food and whatever. And I'm like, I'm down to hang out. I just don't want to hang out at a gig. like I just don't want to be
Yeah, yeah.
in those environments no more. Like, unless I'm working it. I think when I'm working it, I'm fine. It's like, I got something to do. People giving me money, but I just don't want to hang out there no more. You know what I mean? I don't need that to be my life no more like it was. Because I had another person again on a Saturday one time. And he was like, ABC is DJing. And I'm like, look, I'm down to hang out. But I'm not going to go see these people DJ, dude. Like, I'm just done.
Yeah.
Those beat battles is like the closest I get to doing anything like a scene or whatever, you know? I just don't want to be a part of that right now. Like, so, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, even when I was in the scene or whatever, like,
Yeah.
I don't think I really went to gigs that much anyways either.
Yeah.
You probably went to more gigs than
I
I
went
went
to a
to.
lot back then, especially once I started doing videos and stuff, you know? But
Yeah.
because those became kind of like my default back in the day, like my hangout spot. Even if no one was playing, we'd still be there. And I don't even drink. So it's like, what the fuck am I doing there? I was like, if no one's playing,
Yeah.
like, why am I even here? You know what I mean? Like, no one's playing that I know. Like, I'm with people I know, but like, yeah, those just became like our default location. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, do you hang out at work? No, right?
That's true. That is true.
So it's just like, yeah, like if I ain't working there, like I don't know if I need to be there, you know? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree. I mean, but I guess everybody's different on how they view stuff.
I mean,
But
and it's just, it's not to say I ain't enjoy those times either. It's just like, all right, I'm getting older and stuff, and I'm like, I haven't done certain things I want to do, so it's just like, all right, I did it.
mhm.
And then you move on now, and like, cause it's not giving me any of the things I want, so, and now I know it won't get, so it's just like, let me just do something else, you know? So
Mhm.
But yeah. Boom.
Yeah, damn, Lonely Horse still. Dude, like Lonely Horse, like I know since I was like, I mean, I guess is he my age or is he a little older? I don't remember
I
how
would
old
guess, but
this
I have
guy
no
is.
idea.
But dude, like I remember his Craigslist postings, or was it his Craigslist or his MySpace posting?
Damn,
I don't know. He
MySpace.
was looking for a drummer or something. Like I had actually even like messaged him.
Yeah.
But then I think I ended up finding some other group at the time. I don't really remember. I mean, we didn't even like get to the audition portion or nothing, but I just remember like later on in life, I was like, oh, this is the guy that I messaged.
Years ago.
Yeah. And I think it's weird because I think at the time it was an actual band,
Oh, was it? Because I think I've only
at
truly
least.
been made aware of them as a guitar drummer. To be fair, they have a keyboard player now, but
Okay. I feel like when I had applied, you know, when I turned in my resume,
yeah.
uh, I think it was a band because I feel like I remember seeing the YouTube videos of like a group, but I might be wrong. And then Pop Pistol
Oh my gosh,
was another group
another one.
too.
He's still
And
around
then
here. The main guy, I can't remember his name because he's
yeah,
kind of good friends of another friend of mine, and that's how I actually finally ended up meeting him. And like talking to him in longer. I can't remember his name though. He seems like a
yeah, I
nice
don't
dude,
know the guy's
but
name.
he like he's one that like for me like I'm looking at it and it's like, man, I don't think I love this like he does, like the scene and stuff, you know,
Oh
like I
yeah,
feel like he loved the scene, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
so.
yeah. And then Girl in a Coma, I played a
Oh
gig
wow.
at the Guadalupe Art Center when I was in a cumbia group in high school.
Yeah.
Is it high school or was it early college? I don't remember, but it was like when they were still like they were kind of big, I guess, at that point, but not really, because I don't remember there being that big of a crowd at the event.
I remember
I'm
seeing
just like,
posters of them like at my friend's house. I was like, who
yeah,
is this, you know, and like because I would see the name here and there, you know, but I think by the
yeah.
time I finally notice who they are, I guess they're already kind of like, I don't know, right? Like, cause they like, I don't know if
Oh yeah, like by the time I also realized who these people were, it had already been time. Like they're
yeah,
not that their time had passed, but they definitely were like at a later portion, and I was like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
these are the people that I played with like all those years ago. Not played with, but you know, in the same show, like
So
we
yo,
did the same event.
you were there for one of these things, but I actually played before because you were there for the Spider House one. I think they were there, but there was this band called Capiac, um, or maybe you weren't there for that
Okay.
one because I think we might have played the Beat Battle. And I don't remember if Capiac was at. But anyway, twice I played two events with Capiac where they would play
Hmm.
before me of all things, you know, and like literally like maybe less than a year later, like they're kind of like, I don't know if signed is the right word, but you know, they're kind of on some more professional thing where
Oh,
some
okay.
people are giving them some form of money, which makes it some type of. It's always weird because when you talk to these people, it still feels like they're not making a living off it. That's why I say some kind of professional thing because it
Yeah,
seems it's
yeah.
legit, but apparently like not legit enough to just retire. You know,
To
like
make the real money.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, the main one moved to LA, and I didn't even know this guy like that at all. Like that was more like other people's friends. But
Yeah.
but it was just funny. Like yo, I've done gigs with this person, and it's like now he's there. So it was like a weird thing. Like all right, see, it is totally realistic, you know. But like you also got to do the right thing. And they were doing like dancier, funkier music, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, I wonder what it's like to be in the that mid portion or maybe the lower mid portion of like the tiers of like that professional level of music where it's like
Only they can answer it,
you're
but outside looking in,
technically
it pisses. I think it would piss me off because it feels like you're so deep that you can't quit, but it's not enough to be
It's
comfortable.
not.
Like, based on what I've heard from talking to some of these people, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm thinking of several stories right now, and it's like, yeah, it's like, well, it is real, but it's not necessarily real like this. So like, that seems
Yeah.
kind of frustrating. Like, because when I see stuff at that level, it makes me think like, um, you just better off not them, but I mean like for me, you just better off
Mhm.
doing whatever you want because and then making the money from somewhere else. Because if it blows up, then hooray, I did it doing whatever I want. If it don't blow up, then I'm not angry financially and I still did whatever I want, you know? Because I feel like
Yeah.
if you're gonna have to do like weird compromises, then it's like, well, give me, I don't. I'm just using Drake as an example. I was like, give me like famous person level money. Give me, Drake money. Give me that. Now, obviously, those are number one people, so that's maybe too high. But
Yeah.
just give me some type of pop star money. Like if I have to do like compromising bullshit, at least it should be like uh money that makes me not have to do anything anymore. You know what I mean? Like some level of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So otherwise, like, what's the benefit to even doing it? Um,
Yeah. No, I agree. I think I would feel the same way too, because it doesn't seem like, yeah, you haven't really made it, but like you've made it in the sense where you do have a following slash like a profession.
yeah, because I'm
But you're
thinking of
right.
several
It's like
people.
you're not.
They real followings, real tours, right? You know what I mean? Like around America, some of them around the
Yeah.
world, even. Um, but and there's real people showing up. So it's like this is all real, but at the end of the day, it's like you still trying to figure out a way to live, and I'm like, man, that's crazy. Like
Yeah.
that that doesn't seem like motivating at all. Outside looking in. Like that just
Yeah.
makes me think like, yeah, the internet is the way for putting my crap out at, and yeah, figure something else out. Like
Yeah.
so.
No, I agree. Yeah, I want uh I know you said Drake money, but I want like the Rihanna money where I'm starting like my own clothing line and having my own fashion like
You don't think
showcase.
Drake? Come on, stop. Like I don't know who has more. I really don't. I don't. But it's not a far cry,
Yeah,
dog. It's not a far cry. It's not a far cry. It's not. I'm like, because I'm like, if you don't think Drake has some form of merch, you wilding right now. You
yeah.
wilding.
Yeah, but I think Rihanna's is an actual art like
Okay, you
design
just
kind of,
okay.
right?
Well,
Like
that's
Drake's is like
subjective.
merch and like
That's
okay, merch, like yeah, okay, you got merch,
I'm
but
sure he's doing some type of shit he like. I don't know. I'm gonna give him credit for this though. At least from hearing him talk, because sometimes, and maybe I see this in rap the most because that's where I come from, and that's the one that I've maybe followed the stories the most. But when
Mhm.
I hear him talk, like he there already. He can already do the Jay-Z and disappear. But when I hear him
Mhm.
talk, he talks like one of these people who still wants to keep doing it, and I appreciate that. Like, because I feel like a lot of people they get to that status and then they're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna just do other things that make money. Like, or just retire
Yeah.
because you're old and rappers don't rap when they're old, some silly shit like that. Um, like when he talks, he seemed like, nah, dude, like I'm trying to be the goat and like keep doing it. And I'm like, at least that's like it makes it seem like making dope music for him is it's still high on the priority list. Versus, I feel like some of these people who else, when you hear them talk, they're always gonna make music, but it's more like that's just another business opportunity making music, and they also have
Mhm.
500 other companies. You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
it's not like because I always looked at like when like I would look at cats like BB King or Buddy Guy, and I'm like, look, like this motherfucker still like making music. You know what I mean? Like to the day they die, and I'm like, I don't see that a lot all the time. Like Eminem's another one. Granted, he don't talk a lot either. Um, but he's another one that like I've from both watching him and hearing stories, like it seemed like nah, I just want to make bars for the rest of my life, like and just keep upgrading forever. You like, and I'm like, that's dope because I feel like a lot
Mhm.
of times in that field, it just seems like yo, let's get rich and then like, all right, now we can play back. Maybe I'll make an album once every 5 years, whatever. You know what I mean? So, but it still seemed like he bout it. um BB King, the thrill wasn't gone till he was gone. You know what I mean? Like, so,
Wait, so yeah, yeah, I see what you're saying.
like, cause I
How
feel like
rich was BB
sometimes
King though?
what?
How rich was BB King? I
Well,
don't
he's
know
doing
enough about
blues
his
and shit.
history.
You know what I mean? I don't know if that
That's
shit
a
was,
real, that's real passion.
but that's what I'm saying. You know,
Yeah.
that shit's dope. Like, I'm sure he had enough where music was his thing. You know, I'm sure he had other ventures too. But the vibe I
Yeah.
got from him is like he liked doing this and probably want to keep doing this at high levels as long as possible. You know, because when he was older, he'd just be there on a chair. You know, and
Mhm.
I don't know his story. Maybe he needed to be on a chair, and if so, I mean, if he not a chair, if he maybe he just needed to tour till he died, and that sucks if that's true. But the vibe I got was more like, nah, I like doing this. I don't care if I'm old, And I see Buddy Guy out there too. I'm not sure if he's still alive or not, and he old too, just moving around like an old man, but he moving. He's like, this shit is dope. I'm playing fucking guitar. Like people giving me money. Um, but yeah, I feel like there's less of that now. Like I think everybody wants to, become like the ultimate venture capitalist. Like once they reach a certain level, Jay-Z
Yeah.
conglomerate,
Yeah. Which I don't know. Maybe it's just because maybe that gives them more uh satisfaction
I
in
mean, that's
life.
probably true too. Nothing lasts forever.
Yeah.
Look at how we feel about music versus when we were both younger, right? Nothing lasts forever. Um,
That's true.
I'm just saying, like, I think the younger version of me was probably just dumbfounded. Like, it's one thing for us to maybe try other things, right? Because we never made it, but to make it and then still like move on, like that almost was like a hard thing to understand.
Oh, yeah. But then don't you think maybe also it just starts coming off a little corny as you get older too?
Music or rap?
Sometimes music too. Like,
All of it?
like, I think so sometimes, man. Sometimes I feel like I listen to stuff that I liked back then. I'm like, it's still good. Like I'm still jamming, but if they would keep busting out this stuff, I'd probably start thinking they're kind of corny now.
Well, that
Like I
same
think of
song
like the
is the
hardcore,
group.
like the hardcore days,
Yeah.
like my hardcore days. Like looking at those older guys, like I'm like, man, you're old now. Like I'm gonna be watching like, and this is hardcore. Like I'm not talking about metal because I think metal is a little more forgiving with
Yeah.
age, right? Like because it's like a different feel, but like the whole hardcore like scene, I'm like, I would look at these guys now and be like, why are you still doing this, man? Like your sound is like coming off weird now.
Well, so isn't that the same thing though as like rappers who are old though, right? Like, so you're
And
just saying like
that's so
it's
yeah, maybe rappers too start coming out as
so,
corny
but
too.
see, a part of me don't like that then, because like basically what you're saying, like some of this is only good when you're old.
Some of
I
it
mean,
is
when you're
only good
young.
when you're
Sorry,
old,
what am
some
I
of it
saying?
is
What am
only
I
good when
saying?
you're young.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I think it's actually on both sides actually. Like I felt the same way with some of the classical stuff too. It's like I feel like at some point it just kind of becomes corny. Like it's like, okay, here's the same thing, same sort of like idea.
But because
Like
of
yeah, it's
age or
like
just
so
because it's
extravagant.
corny?
Some of it is corny, but I think the thing what I mean is like after so much put out, like some of it kind of starts becoming, it's like
So you as a listener,
attractive. Yeah,
oh
like
well, that makes sense. But I meant like, are
but even as the like as the package, right? Like as the package being sold, it just starts feeling like a little like, all right, man, like you're good. Like you live your life. You
well,
live your life. Like let's see something else. Let's see something else
but you
now.
mean like just
And maybe
not
Jay-Z saw
music?
himself in the mirror and he was like, man, yeah, I'm old now. I'm old. I need to
So I
branch
mean,
out to like,
I find it so all right. So there's a lot going on right there. What you're saying, but like when it comes to rappers, like um, I always find it like whack that thought because I feel like there is a bunch of old musicians now. It seems like you would think they're all corny, like Rolling Stones and Friends when they're playing.
Oh,
But
those definitely. But granted, I also never really cared for the music
I don't either. But what
anyway.
I'm just saying is like there's precedent for the other genres having old musicians. Um, I just said BB King early,
Yeah.
buddy guy. You know, like I'm sure if a lot of the jazz guys, you know, the legends, if they weren't all on drugs, you know, they probably would have like lived old and kept doing it. I mean, good example who died recently, Chick Corea, you know, um,
Oh,
kept
and I
doing.
feel that about him too, though.
He needed to
I feel
stop
like
too.
that. I'm not saying he needs to stop.
Damn, you trying to shut
It's
down
just like
everybody?
it's just like it. I don't know. I don't know how to. Yeah, I guess that's what I'm saying is that they need to be shut down. You need to go home, man.
So you saying
Go
everybody only got
play.
like
Go.
10 years and that's it? That's it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just I feel like at some point their package just is like them, and then you know what is them, and they are who they are, and what they keep producing is just them.
If they're
And it's
not
like,
like a Yeah, if they're not like a, and I don't mean prog music like in the sense that I normally mean, if they're not like an actual progressive artist who's gonna change, then yes. But you know what's funny with that is you're damned if you do, you damned if you don't. A lot of the ones who
you
have
are right.
longevity, right, who change, if they're pop, I'm talking about from a pop standpoint. So like here's a great example, right? Like Genesis, right? They're That's a horrible example because I don't even want to use Genesis because I don't even I'm not even like I don't even like them like that. But what I'm saying is a perfect example of this is Iron Maiden, right? If you hear whatever their newest album is, I don't know when's the last time they did something. I guarantee you, it sounds like Iron fucking Maiden. It's like it's the same, like long style songs with unisons. Somehow they got 3 guitar players. I don't even know how that happens. I don't even I don't know what
Yeah.
when it comes to that kind of makes sense for live, but when it comes to studio recorded, I'm like, I don't even know what is, you know, whatever. Like, but they're doing literally the unison things that they would always do from the 80s, you know, with the long songs.
Yeah.
It sounds like Iron Maiden. That being said, there's countless other groups like another one of mine was Dream Theater. People for years would always be like, man, if only they sounded like their first 2 albums in the 90s or whatever, right? And it's like, so look, this group changed, right? Sucks. This group didn't change.
Yeah.
They still sound like primetime Iron Maiden. Sucks. You know, it's like, so it's like, how do you win that war? You know, how
Yeah.
do you
Well,
win?
that's my point. You don't win the war. You need to branch out and be like Jay-Z and start your own,
Don't
music
even do
streaming
music. Just
company. Like you need to be branch out to different ventures at that point.
So I feel
But
like one person of the artists I can think of who receives the least hate because he gets his own hate, but Steven Wilson, he's the Porcupine Tree guy. You know him? So
I
I
could
think
sound familiar, but
he made a habit earlier on in his career that like it's more in maybe the actual progressive music in that like he did get stereotyped like all of them like Dream Theater and Friends, but what I mean by that is like every 2 or 3 years, like every other album, every 3 albums, there's different shit. It's not the same band no more, you know?
mhm.
So because of that, I could see him picking up and losing fans. Like because he really don't sound like at all like anything. Like in terms of like he might like you know what I'm saying? Like there is no like period where he just kept duping it for 10 years straight, for 15 years straight.
Yeah, yeah.
And now I would say he's kind of in the pop star period. Funny enough, he's an individual now. He was more famous for actually being in a group, but see, he had one of these. This is not the real story why they broke up, but outside looking in, I see it, and it's like he was gonna go through a jazz phase, and one of the people in the brand didn't like jazz, so he did it in his solo career. And I was like, man, you guys are idiots, because I'm like, that was one album, and now he don't want to do jazz again. And I'm like, but look, now he's famous as him, and now he don't need none of it. So I'm like, yeah, fucked up. But yeah, like now he's like, you know, like I feel like now the music don't really always do it for me. I'm still curious because overall he's still one of my favorite people ever. But
Yeah.
I feel like he's in this kind of like pop mode, and it's kind of like, yeah, like I don't know. Without diving more deep, he's just like in a pop singer of his age. He's not doing Britney Spears or nothing, you know what I mean? But like of his age, like kind of like
Yeah.
musically pop references. And now like for the latest album, um, it don't sound like electronic like beats, but yeah, like letting the modern sounds come in, and he's one of these people like, maybe I do everything for most of my career. So for the first time in who knows how many years, like he used a producer, and I'm like, this is why it sound like pop. Like he's literally moving in this direction, so there are ways if you establish it maybe earlier in your career that I'm not gonna keep duping, like that
Yeah.
might become more normal, accepted. But it feels like for everybody else, if you don't quickly establish that, you get popular for one sound, like now you fucked forever.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you are right. You know who I kind of feel falls in that line? You know who Residente is?
What
The
is
guy
it?
from Calle 13?
Oh, I know
It's
Calle Trece, but I don't know the guy.
okay. Well, yeah, he ended up like branching out to do his own thing, I guess. Uh, but I do feel like that group and even his like trajectory has also kind of like changed a
Mm,
lot. Like there's so many different sounds that they've created as that group themselves, and then also in his own like solo
solo
career
stuff.
that he's
Yeah.
doing on his own now. Yeah, it's like so different that you're right. It doesn't feel so weird when you hear that he releases like kind of like a spoken word sort of rap piano like song. It just like comes off as like another branch of his
Yeah.
own like self. But I don't know. But then I see him do songs with Bad Bunny and I'm like, dude, you're like 40 something, like almost 50 years old. Like you're
So
looking
so
kind of corny. Like
so I gotta ask, like, why is that bad? Like, so I
I'm
don't
not
know
saying it's
their
bad. I just think
relationship.
it's funny. I think it's funny because I'm like, when I listen to Bad Bunny, I do enjoy it. Or when I listen to like J Balvin or like
Yeah,
whoever else is like in the scene right
reggaeton.
now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, dude, there's this. Damn, I forgot the guy's name, but there's this like Mexican like. Damn, I don't know the name. I'm
Yeah.
blanking, but it's like not rap, but it's like this like damn, what's the name? It's kind of like banda, but not really. Anyways, that's okay. Anyways, my point is that it does feel like when he's doing his like stuff that he's releasing, you can feel a little bit of the age in his style,
Mm.
but then it also feels new enough to me and different enough where it's like still okay. But then yeah, like I said, I don't know when I see him jump on with Ben Bunny, and it does sound good sometimes, but you can, like, I feel the difference in his lines and his style in the music when he jumps in on the song versus how the feel is with, Bad Bunny
But maybe
going
that's the
on
whole
in the
point,
song.
because he's not doing he's doing his thing. And it's a collab,
Yeah, I guess
like
that's
that's
true.
the thing.
It
That's
is
the
a
whole point.
collab, but it's
Because
just like,
it might look
I mean,
even
it's
worse
good,
if he
it's
tried to
good,
do a
but
today flow when he's on the same
you are
track
right.
with those people.
You are right, because he does release certain songs that feel like they're trying to play to the new audience kind of
Yeah.
thing, and those feel even more like some of them kind of come off good, but some of it feels a little off to me because I'm like, yeah, like you're right. The ones with Bad Bunny do feel a little more cohesive because Bad Bunny's on there and feels more of a like makes sense versus his songs that he's released where they just kind of feel
He
like,
I don't know enough about Gaia Thressen, but like outside looking in, he probably has a different struggle because he might actually want to maintain the fame. So he probably trying to do cool new shit while also maintaining popularity. And now you have to do a lot of that hybrid stuff.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I don't know.
like
I don't
from
know. I don't know what his level of fame is or what his net worth is, but
yeah, I don't know any of that, but I do know like, the fact that I know of him means that uh,
you mean
he
like he
he
doesn't, just from a personal standpoint, he's not at the point where he cares about the money. It's just more about wanting to still be relevant.
yeah, like and because unless he just really likes that sound. he might also just really like that sound. Like I think a lot of times
Yeah.
when we hate it and stuff, I think we forget that there is a chance people might like whatever we think it sucks. Like, there is a chance.
The thing is that I don't think the sound's bad. It's just that when I hear him on it, I'm
Is it just not
like
matching your image of him, like in your head?
it's
Is
just
that maybe
like
the
it
real
could be
problem?
that. It could be that. It could just be me. It could just be me hating on people. Or I'm just like, all right, man, like let me hear some new people. Although I do like his stuff a lot though, but sometimes I'm just like it just feels funny to me because it does feel like people are trying to. It's funny because I'm saying that they're trying to clasp at straws, like trying to keep up with the new generation, right? But then with the jazz world, sometimes I felt that people weren't trying to keep up with the new generation
Oh my
enough.
gosh, yeah.
Sometimes,
So
uh,
that goes into the argument of like of academia making things worse.
yeah,
Because now they make it this prestigious holy thing, and I don't know jazz lore like that, but I believe it was some
yeah,
type of rebellion initially, and somehow they made it where all these things like where you got to follow these rules. I think not being like a musician who was playing jazz, like I always liked it because of the improv and soloing parts. But then you would see it in our school, and it would just come off like this is how you do jazz, and this other shit is stupid. You know what I mean? Like, and new shit is stupid.
yeah,
And I hated that shit. And that might have been what I know. Jazz is alive and well for like some people somewhere who follow it, but like there's probably a
yeah,
reason why we still keep talking about the same 15 people from 1950 and 60,
yeah,
and we're
yeah,
not talking about no one
yeah,
else.
yeah. And even the new guys, I also have sort of felt in these most more recent years
Yeah.
that I don't know, maybe I'm not looking enough, but I don't feel that I've found the same sort of excitement. Like, remember when you first heard of Chris Dave and that bass player? Remember you showed me that bass player playing the same loop, and then like Chris Dave was like playing out of time, but then technically he was in time on the drum set, and somehow they would fall apart and come back together. Uh, and then like who's the other drummer? Like Mark Giuliano was cool. Even Robert Glasper was cool, but I don't know. In these, it may be that, like I said, maybe I'm not looking, but I feel like when I try to listen to new stuff these days, it just feels like piano trio music, which is not bad, but it just feels like that feeling that has already happened. Like
Yeah.
there's some like there's this famous. I mean, I say famous, right? It's in the jazz world, but
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
there's some guy named Avishai Cohen who was really badass, and his stuff was really badass. But then when I listen to it now, I'm like, okay, like it's badass for them, but I don't want to hear that anymore. Like I want to hear more evolution from what you guys created, right? What the people who used to be the new cats, right? Like the new like generation. Like I want to hear more evolvement from that. Um, I mean, like I guess Tigran Hamasyan or whatever his name is. His stuff is pretty cool. But even that stuff, like I'm like, it was like cool. It was cool, and I still love it a lot. But I don't feel like I've been finding an evolution. I don't even know why I'm going off on this side tangent. Why was I even saying this?
You hate
Oh, because
musicians
we were just
past
talking.
20. That's what.
Yeah, basically, it's like I just want to hear new beats is all.
So
I
it's
don't
it
know.
sound like to me like in 5 more years you're not even gonna be allowed to touch music though, right? Because you're gonna be an old man like 5, 10 years.
Probably, unless I come up with a new genre. But no, I mean, yeah, I don't know what I meant by all that. I think I'm just hating. I think that's all it is. I'm just hating. I was trying to give a reason why Jay-Z has branched out because I do think his stuff kind of comes off
I
cheesy, to be
think
honest.
I think Yeah, me and my friend have had this discussion, and this might be a pattern in other arts, but we're from hip hop world, so I think if you study the culture of the hip hop people that we grew up on, like so like those '90s rappers, I think, and if you take the stereotype, right, of like growing up in those environments, right, you can only be a rapper or a basketball player. Um,
Hmm.
those without the internet being as strong as it was in the '90s, like right, what you see is what you think is possible. So those seem to be the ways. Like if you want to be rich, those are what you do, and that's why you had so many people trying to do it, either rapper or basketball player, because it never occurred to anybody like, yo, if I just learned this stock market, I could probably like kill some shit, like make it. Because who's advertising it like this? Even right now in
Yeah.
2021, sure, there's a bunch of YouTubers like killing the game and teaching people, but like any of the gods on Wall Street, how many of them have a YouTube channel dropping their shit, they social media?
Yeah.
Like the richest people in the world still like out there just like, nah, son, I do my dirt and I hide that shit. I ain't trying to like let you know. Um, it's not like celebrity where like, oh, like you blow up and you from a movie, now everybody wants to see you. Like the shadow controllers. So that's
Hmm.
why we reach towards all the forms of celebrity because that's what we see and they look rich and successful. So those we want to be successful and rich. So it's like, so if you take a lot of those '90s rappers like, and you see how they transitioned over the years, um, it makes it seem like not that they ain't love it or they ain't like it, but when maybe I see somebody again, assuming BB King toured because he wanted to, that dude probably just loved blues and guitar, and that's why he kept doing it.
Hmm.
Buddy Guy, the same thing. Chick Corea, probably the same thing. They just that's it. That's what they wanted to do. But these
Yeah.
people wanted to make it, and if that's what I got to do to make it, I'm gonna make it. You look at the whole Jay-Z story, right? It's all him hustling. No one wants to sign him. Sign himself, make the label, the Rockefeller, and all that stuff. Um, my favorite story of all this is Coming of Age. It's a track on Blueprint. The track I think on Reasonable Doubt on first album. It has Memphis Bleak on there. Memphis Bleak tells that story. Sure, I'm gonna butcher it a little bit, but it tells the story basically. Jay-Z's on the path, right? He climbing, and he's like, "Yo, man, here's some bars." Like he wants him to rap on this track, Coming of Age. Memphis Bleak like, "I don't rap," and he's like, "Don't worry about it. I wrote this shit. Just rap it." And he's like, "I don't rap," and he's like, "Dude, you don't understand. Like, I'm gonna go somewhere. We gonna make it. You can stay here and not rap, or you can rap. like, don't worry, you don't write rhymes, whatever. Like, rap. We gonna get somewhere." And he says like that's how because Memphis Bleak ain't dropped an album since 2005. He's like, yeah, I'm good. He out here runs a very successful like some type of alcoholic beverage. Like I think for a real one
Hmm.
too. I don't even know if, but yeah, like he doing real business things now. Um, but that was the springboard to making it. Was him rapping, and I feel like a lot of the people like that kind of became they thing to make it. And once they made it, then it's like how much do they like it, like really like it to keep doing it, because now they don't need to because
Yeah.
now they have access to other avenues. um and that's why I think when you see the older people in any genre doing it, those are probably the people who like that's really all they wanted to do. um
Yeah.
and the ones who go into other avenues, like they'll dabble in it here because they do have a love for it too, but now that they have access to everything, they might actually start to do the actual things they wanted to do. Like I think Jay-Z from Forever probably wanted to do some type of power thing, and going on his old background, and that's how you see, where he is now. Controlling things, chess, being a chess
Yeah.
player, and all that. Um, but if you look at Eminem, like 50 Cent said he tried to get him on a movie many years ago, and he said it was gonna be $8 million. He said like one day, and Eminem said no. He's like, I don't even make sense. He's like, it's like $8 million. Just come show up. But like, he just kind of, as long as he has enough money to just rap, that's it. He's good because Eminem's kind of like that dude
Yeah.
who just wants to be in the gym, like being the dopest rapper. Being the dopest bars, more complicated, crazy syllables, whatever. Because he really liked that shit. But you don't really see him in a lot of shit no more now that he's in a place.
Yeah. You're right. So I guess I think I'm just hating on people.
So I get it,
Uh,
like seeing old rapper, because I think Eminem ain't he like about to be 50. Like it could be weird, but it's like it's to me it's kind of cool, like to one, because no one wants to do it when they old. One, it's cool to see somebody who wants to do it when they old. Two, it's cool that his skill level is even better now than it was when he was younger. Are the songs maybe as popular? No, because um
he's 50 years old.
no, that could be part of it, but I think yo, that's not the rap that won the war, dude. Like lyricism is not at the forefront, you know? Um
Yeah,
Plus, now in the internet world, there's a lot of people who can do lyricism too. He's not just the only one, you know, like who got a contract back in the day, you know. So there's a
yeah,
lot more avenues. But yeah, like had that music maybe been the dominant thing, like where it's just like yo lyricist rapper after lyricist rapper, then maybe he might be, you know, more relevant to the normal scene, you know. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, that's not the you know right now. It's definitely a beats culture. Is definitely a catchy song culture right now. You know, I don't think that's not really what he does. You know, and when he does try to do
yeah.
these songs, he does pop songs. I don't like those really. like very poppy. Usually a poppy chorus from a can't remember the singer, but yeah, it's usually a female chorus, and so it's like almost traditional pop of the that whole era, you know, that passed already.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
music of his that sounds usually the dated the most. Is when he makes a pop song. That's usually the ones that sound dated. Um,
yeah.
but
That's true.
yeah, man. I don't know. I'm just trying to get
Um,
back to the love of making music for myself too. Like doing it
well,
for
you
the
gotta
right
do
reason.
it before you get too old.
What's up?
You gotta do it before you get too
Well,
old.
that's why I'm doing it now. And that's why I don't do it every day too. Cause it's like I think I just kind of like made that whole thing like I don't know way too convoluted for myself.
Yeah, why do you think you've done that? You know, you kind of touched upon it that these people seem to have just done it. I don't know. It's weird. Sometimes I think like maybe it's not as hard as
It's not.
we make
It's
we
not.
think. Like, I mean, it does take
And
you
that's for
right. It
everything. We
takes
get in our
some
own ways.
dedication. It takes
Yeah.
time, but like it doesn't. I don't know. I sometimes think about it. I'm like, maybe it wasn't really that hard to become, Jay-Z or Eminem. Like,
Okay. Now you pick like two goats. Like,
I
they're,
mean, I know I know I say that like it's like the easiest thing to do, and I get that that's not like exactly the truth, but even to think that you can reach that, why have we always thought that it's that difficult? Because I think you could get close-ish, you know, close-ish in a relative sense, right?
as the
Like,
internet keeps scaling, we can. It's more realistic that we can at least get our own like fan base, and whatnot. You know,
yeah,
for sure. But I think also like right, you've probably heard the thing that you are the five people that are around you. You know, probably around a lot of people like who since I don't know about you, but like for me, you know, like a lot of people just don't believe in the shit that you're doing. And unless you got that dope self esteem confidence in your shit, the more
mm,
you likely to probably believe the other stuff, you know, so that in which may entail lead you to try less and less or to only try a certain way, you know, and not try everything. You know? Back when
mm.
Jay-Z made Rockefeller with Dame and everybody, that wasn't the thing to do. Make it independent, you know, like that was him doing that shit because desperation. No one gonna sign me. I'm gonna sign me. But no one made labels from the start of their career. You know, like not in '94 or '5,
Yeah.
whenever that was. You know, like that was something you would do when you made it, and maybe they put you as a president and blah blah blah. You know, um,
You know what I think I was trying to say is I think it's not that hard to tap in that to that mindset that those people had.
gotcha.
I think that's what I meant. Yeah, I'm over here like saying like, oh yeah, I could be Jay-Z.
Because
I
I'm
could be
like,
Michael Jordan, man. It's not that hard.
exactly, yeah, yeah. You picked like a high bar. I was I was
No,
like,
I meant yeah. What I was trying to
I
say is
was
like I don't think that mindset is that hard. I don't know why we make it so difficult then.
I mean, it is and it isn't
Like
though. It is and it isn't. First off, right, the answer is it is that hard, right? Because none of us, like, there's so many of us who aren't doing it, right? But the reality of
Yeah.
why it is easy is because it's really we got to get out of our own way. And that answer of how we do that is different for all of us. But yeah, in
Are you
theory,
trying to get out of your own way?
oh, hell yeah, every day. How am I
But
doing it
how?
though? I don't have, I'm still trying to understand myself. That's it. I'm trying to understand myself so that I actually am doing the things I want to do. Cause and that's maybe where some of the slowdown with music is. Like, yo, like I know this is gonna be part of my life, but where do I want it to even fit in to this whole thing? Because
Mm.
if maybe I give half-ass tries for music my whole life, because maybe it don't need to be this priority. You know what I mean? Maybe it needs to be
Oh,
adjusted. You know what I mean? Um, and then
yeah.
it's like you went on to program. Maybe I go on to whatever it is I go on to. Now I'm a beast because I got my shit prioritized correctly. You know what I mean? Um,
Mm.
one of the things I got into, I had this. I had this known for a while, like for a year, but I only just started practicing it recently. I did it today. One of the first things I do every day, um, except right now tomorrow because the church gig's at 7 a.m. and that's just super early. Like, but yeah, I just sit alone right now for an hour. Like literally as soon as I wake up, sit alone outside and no distraction, no phone. I got a timer there, but that's it. And I just alone with my thoughts. Just for an hour. Because I always felt like a lot of these things were very variations of themselves. Like I got into journaling years ago. That's another way, right, to figure out one's thoughts. And I think going for walks for an hour with no distractions, no music, same. They all work on the same thing, but I always felt like this is the most hardcore version of it because it's just you and your thoughts and trying to understand whatever is on my mind currently. Just putting my current life in perspective. Um, like some of this might not be answering what you're saying, but like I feel like the current hurdles is probably maybe like overcoming. It does go to like getting out of my way, like going back to maybe like 2 or 3 years ago and discovering maybe like, oh, I'm depressed and I didn't even know that. You know what I mean? Like, so like
Mm.
this is helping me overcome that because these burdens that were like looming that I like my own mental struggles, like I'm spending so much energy on this bullshit that it don't even matter what I was gonna do, whether it's just a normal job or whatever. That shit is just not gonna get the best of me because that shit is draining me. You know what I mean? So I'm dealing with this shit so that whether it's music or not, like it don't matter. Like then I will excel at it when it's time to excel at it. But that's been one of the things that I've
Mm.
been doing that helps me lately to try to get out of my way. And I feel like it also teaches me to think because it's just an hour with my thoughts. It teaches me to think, and I feel like it teaches me to accept myself because again, it's just an hour with me and nothing. So that I don't know. I have this thing where I feel like if I could like kind of unify the whole thing of myself, everything would just work out. Like there really won't be these paths of failure unless I'm choosing paths of failure. And why would you choose paths of failure? You know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah. Well,
yeah,
I mean, you can argue some people maybe choose it
we do,
subliminally
we
or
do.
whatever.
But I'd like to think if I'm literally being mindful of myself and being hyper aware or being aware. I don't know if we want to be hyper aware, but you know, sometimes you do this too much and that happens too. But anyway, I like to think if I'm being aware that I won't purposely choose failure, you know, because I feel
Mm.
like I may have chosen failure in the past, but I didn't know that. You know, I didn't know that's what I was doing. So that's why I'm like taking a step back. You know?
Yeah.
Because that was never
Yeah.
the goal, whether I chose it or not. The goal was not to choose failure. You know, that's. I was like, guess what I chose today? I'm jumping off a bridge. You know, I didn't want to do that. You know,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
ended off the bridge, and now I'm like, oh fuck, but I wasn't on purpose. You know.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, I guess the reality is that it is easier to fail or to live in failure. I think it's
What do you
somewhat
mean?
easier in a sense. In failure, in the sense that you're not attaining or accomplishing the things that you want to accomplish, I guess, in a sense. Like, getting to whatever that next level is of what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easier because I do think, like, when I look at back at my music days, I do think that in some ways I sometimes only did what was enough to get to, like, to do the next step,
Mm.
but it was never enough, like, in the sense of, like, that's sort of like I said, that's sort of just decisiveness of saying, okay, let's do this, and I'm doing it all or nothing. So it was like I was, yeah, getting better, and I was getting to some next steps in my career, but it was never like a true, like, I don't know. It's like I never really gambled, like took a real chance kind of thing.
That's one
And
of the
it's like,
main things
so
they all have, by the way. Like all these people, their mindsets. Like, you know,
yeah. And
like
yeah, so that's why I
have
mean,
you
like,
gone all in on anything in your life?
I don't think so. Yeah, like, I mean, I guess I did it to switch tech. I mean, I dropped music and everything, but
That's what I was
it's
thinking
like a
too.
little different. But
Well,
I
why is it
do
different
agree
though?
that I do feel that in that decision, I decided to do it and then I just stuck with it. Like it was a quick decision. Like, yes, you can argue that I had always been wanting to do tech, like since I was like a kid.
Yeah,
And I even took classes in college, but none of those steps were ever real steps. Like I was saying, none of those steps were ever true steps, right? It
yeah.
was always just like, let me test the waters, let me learn, right? Like I'm gonna learn for learning's sake. But then when I made the decision to switch careers, it was literally just like one day, like in one moment. It wasn't this like I'm gonna sit and think about the pros and cons of me switching or moving. Like it was just like I just need to do it. Like there's no need for me to think of why I'm doing it, what it means for my life, how it's gonna change my life. I'm just gonna do it because I want to do it. Uh Yeah. And I was actually, with that in mind, I was gonna say, like, I think it's good that you think about stuff like that. Like, I understand that we all, like, I don't know, some people seem like they don't feel those feelings, but I feel like a lot of people do feel that those things of like trying to understand your life and trying to understand yourself and what you are as a person or how you view yourself or what it means to be you kind of thing. But I don't know. It does seem like sometimes it's like that actually ends up just slowing you down because it's like you're just thinking,
So
and
everything.
sometimes like you don't need to think.
Oh yeah,
Maybe
for
you just
sure,
need to
for
like
sure,
I
for sure.
said, the switch. Yeah,
So,
like
but
and
what
not
the example
overthinking.
I gave before about thinking though has to do more with like overcoming less with some of that and overcoming more things like the depression stuff, and the self
Mm,
acceptance, um, and just kind of like being on my own side, and so it has to do with a lot more of that mental health shit than like, yeah, me thinking all the time is gonna make me be better at music or whatever else. It has less to do with that and more to do with just like
mm.
kind of just being comfortable with me as a being. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
so yeah. Versus decision making.
yeah.
I'm not necessarily contemplating actual decision making like for
Life
life.
decision.
Yeah, it's more like the me
Mm,
stuff. And then it's funny. A lot of times it's not necessarily always crazy thoughts. I was thinking like the other day, most of that hour was just me thinking about the computer case. Right? What computer case to get? I didn't plan to do that. That seems fucking silly to just sit for an
Mm,
hour and think. But the thing is, because I guess maybe I was spending so much time researching that that's the shit that was in my head, and I was like, I wasn't gonna get a case, and I somehow like debated and convinced myself to get a case. But that's all this stuff has been in my head lately, and that kind of hour is just kind of a way to almost exhaust that shit out, you know.
mm,
Um, but yeah, like I said, that has more to do with a lot more of the mental health stories, like
mm.
that are more popular these days, and less to do with like this is gonna be the thing that makes me um go in a particular thing like music, you know, like
Yeah, but I understand that, and I mean, I'm not gonna like downplay or even try to understand what's in your mind, but I think sometimes like when I've gone through moments of stuff like that, uh, I don't, yeah, because like I can understand that feeling, like because I do feel stuff like that, and I don't really want to dive into my stuff, but like I think sometimes it's like, is it okay to just accept that maybe it's okay to feel like broken? Like I
yeah,
think it's okay to feel that.
yeah. But like for me, maybe like I guess it was been 3 years right now. I didn't even know I could feel all that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like it all kind of came crashing down, and then like yeah, it all came crashing down, and I don't know. I think I saw the world in a whole new, different way, and like, oh shit, all these things I've been feeling all these things my whole life, but I just didn't have appropriate, I guess, context for what it is. I just thought all this was normal. You know what I mean? Um,
But is it okay to just accept that it is normal, though? I think it is normal. I think you found definitions
okay,
for
so
it, but I think
check it.
the
Fine, you accept
definition.
that it is normal, right? It just left me, right? It just, it just whatever I was gonna say left me. Just say what you're gonna say.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like I think it is just normal. I think you found the definitions to define what you're feeling, which is good, and I can understand why you're going through those hours of reflecting and like thinking about stuff, even if it's just thinking about a computer case. Um,
So say what you were
I
saying
just think it's
before. Is it
normal.
okay? Is it okay? Isn't it
Oh, to
okay?
feel, isn't it okay just to feel broken?
Okay, now how do you do that?
You just let it be.
But how do you do that? Because for
Uh,
me, that's 1 hour is me learning to how to do it. Literally how to be. Because
but I
otherwise,
think
I
you've
spend
been
the
doing
rest
it
of the
though.
day like coping and maybe, more in vices and all that stuff.
Mm,
You know what I mean?
I see.
So that's a way to maybe like, all right, man, I don't need to turn to like 8,000
You
pounds
think
of
that
junk
like,
food. Yeah, yeah.
okay, okay, yeah, I see that.
Maybe I don't have to do all these other vices. Now I feel like slowly it makes me question, like, oh yeah, like this is stupid. Like let me, because now like you
And what do you
accept it.
think?
Now I don't need to run away no more. Basically, you know what I mean?
Mm, but were you running away before though?
I think unbeknownst to myself.
But how could you be running away from something you didn't know existed?
that stuff is hard to explain, but I think a lot of times like I felt like maybe I was doing certain vices and stuff because maybe they felt good or something.
Mm.
But like you do them enough, almost similar to like you were saying the music, like this is the same thing, like and it was like, and you get that way
Oh,
too.
so basically you were like, man, I'm being corny.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm like, what's going on here? You know what
Okay.
I mean? Like, I'm old now. I shouldn't be courting no more.
Gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, man.
What do you think you'll gain from finding the self-acceptance anyways? and I'm not talking about gain, like you were saying, it doesn't need to be like some sort of like career or like life, like achievement kind of thing. But what do you think you'll gain from that sort of acceptance?
I probably won't truly know till I have it, right? Assuming that it is attainable, right? But like, I almost feel like time.
Time?
Yeah, which sounds
Time
ironic.
for what?
No, just more time, because now I just won't. I won't need to do
Hmm. The one
like.
hour thing?
Oh, not even that. No, I won't need to do the other things that maybe I thought were giving me a joy or escape or something anymore. Because now, like we were saying before, like now there's no need to run away. So now I'm
Hmm.
just free to do something else. You know,
You know what that something else is?
that I don't know. That might just come from living. You know, but,
You're doing yoga now, or
oh, I've been
what's the
doing
physical stuff you're doing?
yoga for a minute, like a long time.
Okay.
But I kind of like September. I just stopped working out. Um, but at this point too, also I'm a big DDP yoga guy. I don't even do the normal yoga stuff no more. And now that I'm a bit bigger, um, like I had to like retire the push-ups and stuff for a minute, like kind of heavy body weight stuff. But yo,
Uh,
I've learned some stuff because the thing I liked about DDP yoga, like, because I was so into normal real yoga that I pushed it away for many years because I was like, man, it's
mhm.
some bullshit. Because he kind of markets it differently and he talks like but he's selling the yoga to the layman. He's selling the yoga to people who would never do yoga, you know. Um, but I remember I was looking for something different. I was like, I want some time under tension. There's a more professional word for it. I can't remember, but I wanted tension. And I was like, I swear DDP did that. So then I tried it with an open mindset and I was like, it's fucked up. And now like that, I'm like substituting for certain things. It's like, man, like now I've kind of learned even more about my body. I'm like, yo, man, like I keep doing this. I might be, feel like I could be like a real beast, like with my body. Like if I like stick with it and keep doing it. And when I say that too, like, cause I feel like I'm sure that there's always varying results, but I feel like people who do like the DDP yoga, um, they don't all always have like the six packs and all that, like the sexy I work out forever. But what they
Mm,
almost always do have is like I can move, you know. So I'm more interested in that part. like I can, you know, like whatever it is. Because almost every story with that is like, man, I broke my back because they were doing because DDP is a wrestler. I don't know if you know that or not. And people got like super old because wrestling's about getting fucked up, you know, on purpose. That's pretty much like what wrestling is. Wrestling is getting fucked up and you're letting somebody fuck you up, and hopefully they don't fuck you up too much, you know, because it's supposed to be fake, you know, like, but, you know, accidents do happen. So people would do that. And because it's yoga at its core, like it works on a lot of like little things. And I can see the stuff that he picks, I can tell like it's designed for normal people versus when I do a
mhm.
normal yoga class or something. And maybe they're going a little bit here and there, you know, feel like he's kind of more narrowed because it's like, look, man, people sit a lot, so we're gonna fuck up your hip flexors, you know, like. So I feel like it's more
Okay.
aimed at people who live normal life and maybe are this
Yeah,
is all they're gonna do, and that's it, you know, like
yeah, yeah.
they're not gonna do other shit. So I've tapped into a few new things that has got me excited. Um, but yeah, that's the main thing, and that's all I want. I just want to be able to like, no matter how old I get, be able to like do shit, yo, because one of the things I got back into, unfortunately, just because it takes so much more time, it's not. But I've been doing it daily. But I can tell I don't need to do it daily anymore. But is the trigger point therapy or the various foam rolling thing? Like, that's the easiest way to describe it. I got like different tools, but essentially what foam rolling does. But since I had stopped working out, and I always say like I worship a computer, you know, like I was starting to get some of the hand pains again, you know. Um, and so I had to bring that back. Cause I don't. Did I ever tell you like I kind of like I don't know how to describe it, but like I lost my arms back when I had like a job, call center job many years ago.
Yeah, I think you did.
Yeah, so I was like typing like this with pens and shit, and that was the thing that kind of saved me, was the trigger point and then the yoga right after. So I was like, I want to be able to always be able to move and shit,
Mhm.
and use this because this is what we worship these days, right? You know, like, these
Yeah, yeah.
computers, you know. So I won't be able to do this and then have it hopefully not be pain free, you know, like. So that'll be the real time I graduate or retire from making music because I can't use the computer no more. You know, so that's what everything is right now. Boom. When are you gonna join the beat battles, dog?
Uh, I don't know. Maybe. Well, I mean, I was supposed to leave my job at the end of this month, but they asked me to stay longer, so I was like, okay.
Are they giving you
Uh,
like extra comp for staying or not?
nah.
Damn,
It
should
just
have no negotiated, dog.
I maybe I could have, but
You
I'm just kind
probably
of
could have.
whatever.
You probably.
Yeah.
It don't gotta be
Yeah.
like
So
hold them, you know,
no,
like
I
yeah, just
yeah.
something
I
extra.
need like
Like
a meal. Just give me a meal and I'll stay one more
there you
month.
go. I don't know, $5, whatever. Like, but something, you know,
Like,
like some type of thing.
uh, yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's like since I'm still working, it's like after work, then I'm just like trying to chill.
I feel
And
that.
then my girlfriend and I do like a dance class or
Oh,
yeah, or sometimes we just watch a movie. It just depends on the night. But
plus they might be pretty late for you, right?
what?
Because
Oh, I think that's the other thing is right now, yeah, it's like I think it ends up being like 10 o'clock on my end when you start the actual
when I
voting,
post this,
right?
I could give you no. So we'd post the sample at 10 for your time, and then 11 would be the voting time start.
Oh, damn, okay.
I
Oh,
could
it's
always
even
give you
later
the
than before,
sample.
I think.
Yeah, it is. It is now because it used to be 7, so it would be 8 your time back in the day, but it ended up being 9 here now, so it starts at 10. I could always give you the sample early if you want to do it. And then you can just, be honest with yourself
Yeah,
how
yeah.
long you want to do the hours. Because, at this point, it
Yeah.
hasn't been an hour beat battle in a while. It's an hour ish. But, there'd be
Okay.
cats working on that shit for like an hour, 30 minutes, sometimes 2 hours, like, and we just hanging out. You know what I mean? So it's like, so, but basically, you're making something in one sitting. That's what it's turned into.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I could always give it to you early. And then you could just fast forward the voting like the next day or something if you want to see how you did or something. like,
Oh, yeah. I guess, yeah, that probably would have to be the deal, because yeah, because I I share the room with my girlfriend, and that's where the keyboard's at. Like,
mm.
so there's
Draw
not
them in,
really I
man.
can't.
Draw them in. That way you're not typing. I heard somebody
Sure.
one of the
Oh
goats
yeah.
one of the
Uh-huh.
goats in the beat battle is Willis Nillis. I don't know if you remember him from watching it a little bit here and there. But
Yeah.
yeah, Promise told me like, yo, everything. Trackpad. He's just drawing everything, like everything. He does a lot of crazy shit. See, he's one of the goats.
Wow.
He's a splice goat. Maybe he has arcade, but he's a sample goat for sure because he's done some metal
Mm.
stuff, and I'm pretty sure it's one of the metal packs. Somebody named it. I don't remember what it was, but it still sounds dope. But yeah, he not even playing it like us. He just drawing it in. That's
Oh
all you.
wow.
So yeah, you can be silent if you get into that. I've never gotten into that, to drawing things in. I'll say this though, the cool thing about drawing things in is it means however you understand it, you probably understand music theory in your own way. If you're drawing it in, because now you really do
Yeah.
need to pay attention to it. And a lot of times I'm kind of just
Oh.
hearing it, but I don't really know the scale or whatever, like I'm just hearing it and hearing what's right and wrong, like for it.
Yeah. Damn.
So, but yeah, man, get
Yeah,
into
it's
drawing
crazy.
things in. I'm trying. Like, Draw things in, and I could give you the stuff early if you want it.
Okay. I think I need to do like a few tutorials first.
This is how it doesn't
Because I
happen. You
think
just gave this whole thing about making decisions, like now.
no. So here, I mean, I should just do it,
Stop
but the
trying to
thing,
be good and just make
I'm
a
not
beat.
trying to be good. It's just that I don't remember how to do stuff in the program. I'm like, how do I like put in a fade here, or how do I automate
Who
like
gives a shit? I'd never use automation. Maybe you
I
can
guess that's
tell.
true.
But I mean, but
I guess you're right. You're right. It's just about yeah,
because
there
you're
we
not
go
even
again.
trying to make it. This is what I'm saying. You're not even trying to make it in the beat world or nothing. Just make whatever
Here's
shit
the
you
thing
make.
is I
Use that
messed
hour for
okay, the
practice. That's
last
the whole point. Use the hour for practice.
that's the thing is the last few times that I've tried it,
Yeah.
or the only two times that I tried it, all I got to the point was kind of cutting the thing to how I wanted it to somewhat sound. Like I didn't even add my own
You
drums or
should have
nothing.
just Apple D then,
Turned in.
Apple D, and then that was it. That's your beat. We had
I
two
guess you're
really,
right. I should do that.
we've had two really whack beats that have come to mind. Like one guy, I think he was trolling. He just submitted like I think it was a kick drum, like going for like 30 seconds. I think that was a meme. But there was another dude who was out of
Okay.
practice, and it sounded like very basic shit. It
Yeah.
was whack. He hasn't done it since, because he's also embarrassed of himself compared to what everybody's doing. But it's like we didn't tell him to go away. That's him. You know what I mean? Like, but
You're right. That's true.
yeah,
All right. Send me the track and I'll do
yeah,
it this
man.
time.
And then since you have it, you could always cheat and go more than an hour anyway. No one gives a shit. Not like just have fun. Just use that hour to practice. Because every now and then that's kind of what I do. Is just like because I think like I said, I'm getting tired of beats. So it's like whatever nonsense I want to try, I try it in this hour, and I rarely win because of that. Because I know I'm not like trying to make these dope ass beats. I'm just trying to like I don't know, either explore or
Mm.
make something dope to me. And either way, those are usually not the paths to winning the beat battle.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Oh, but you won the $20, didn't you?
I did win the 20. You saw that?
So you come ready to play when there's money involved.
Yeah. Yo, I've actually said this to a few people. I wouldn't do it now. I'm out of shape now, but I think there's one guy in our and he doesn't do the beat battles, but he's in the music scene. And it was like, look, man, you're meeting me today. Like, I suck at basketball, but I can tell, even though you love it, you suck too. I was like, and we played a few times, but it's like, you're gonna keep talking all this shit, dude. You just put some money down. Like, we'll see what happens. Like, and I don't even money match like that for basketball because it wasn't that good. But it's like, look, man, he tried. But what happened with that beat battle that I won is that a lot of people, again, they take it too serious. So that sample sucks.
Mm.
Like, I don't know if you saw it on YouTube. If you see it on YouTube, I don't play the samples. But if you see it on Twitch and you just rewind, you could hear the sample. Sample sucks. I agree too, it sucks. But people get like a shitty sample and you can hear it and you can see it in the comments, but they let that affect the mood or the beat. They like, man, like I want a dope sample so that we could do blah blah. I'm like, that's why I knew the sample sucked, and that's why like towards halfway I was like, well, I'm gonna just play my guitar because that's what I've been doing. I soloed more on that than I have on any song because I was like, I'm gonna just do what I want to do, and I think that's what won it over because I did stuff, like, and everybody else kind of let the whack sample dictate that and make a whack beat,
I see.
So it's just like, just do something and then just get the sample in there, like most people, and I'm surprised they let that affect them because most people, there's no cheating or not cheating, but like me coming from the hip hop world, like, the old one, that's what I mean when I say that, the old one in the 90s, you would build a beat around the sample. That was the whole point of sampling. So 9 out of 10 times I do that. But I feel like a lot of times now, and it's not just this beat battle, it's a lot of them. People, they just do what they were gonna do anyway, and the sample just happens to be there. So I'm like, being that most people have that mentality, I'm like, why do you let a whack sample like deter you? Just do what you were gonna do anyway and sneak it in here. A lot of times too, yeah, a lot of time they drown it. You can't even hear it. So I'm like, why are you letting it deter you? Just do whatever the fuck you want to do, and then supposedly sneak it in there somehow.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but they really do. When a sample's dope, they let you know. When a sample's trash, they let you know. They let you know.
Gotcha.
So yeah, had the sample been dope, I probably wouldn't have won it because everybody would have been excited and you would have had a bunch of hot beats or something. Also, Willis didn't do it that week too. He would have been a major threat. He would have been. He's really powerful, Willis. but yeah, man. So yeah, just have fun and then somehow sneak the sample in there. Like I haven't done it a lot because my natural thing is to always build a beat around the sample. But there was one week where I was trying to do the opposite, and I just did whatever I wanted to do in the guitar, and then I just tuned the sample to whatever the key was of the song, and somehow just like forced it in there, and put delay on it, and it's whatever. But I'm like, what's up?
That's what I mean. It's like you know how to do all that. No, but you're right. I should just do it, but like I don't know how to change the tune of a song.
Yeah, but it don't matter. Then you're just what key you're gonna be in right away. That's even better. You have less decisions to make than me, because whatever that sample is in, like now you know the key. You didn't even have to try. Key decided for you. It's all narrative and perspective. It's all how we look at things. Because you don't know nothing, that means you probably only know, let's say, 5 things. Just do those 5 things. The end. Do the stereotype of thing that while it's easy to make fun of, and we might have done it in this very podcast, most of the current world does. Just add drums. That's it. Just add drums. That's it. That's modern day hip hop. Get a sample, add drums. There's a talent to that. But still, just add drums. That's it. That's it, man. So it's doable, man. It's just beats. But yeah, man.
That's true.
You got anything else? Anything else on the agenda?
I mean, I guess you want to give the update on what happened to your podcast.
Oh, I talked with Phil yesterday about it.
Okay.
Like again, yeah. It just wasn't fun, man.
Yeah,
that's it. That was the main thing. Like it just wasn't fun. It was
Why do you think it wasn't fun? You think it's something of you holding yourself back too?
No, I think it was all 3 of us. It was all 3 of us. It was all of us. I think for me, I was coming with topics. I don't do that. I didn't do that here. I like the conversations now. Like, because even when I had stuff with the interviews, like most of it was a conversation first. And I would either do those life questions at the end, or I would do them if they're a one-line person. Like, this is dope. And then I'm like, oh shit. Like, I better act. Then those questions were great because those tended not to be one-line questions unless they just don't like talking about themselves. Then this is a short-ass podcast. The end. But yeah, like it just felt like not natural. And it's funny because when I talked to Phil on the phone, or when there was one night where me and Duke talked for 4 hours, and he was like, "This should be on the podcast. This should be on the podcast." And I was like, "I know," but for whatever reason, when we together, it don't. Versus how we talk in real life, that's not. Even though it don't translate, not showing up here. And then everybody else was like multitasking too. Like Phil often says like. He only gonna put the amount of effort relative to I do. So if I'm not taking it serious from as a business standpoint, and he not either, so he would work on his business stuff. And same thing with Duke. Duke would hop in and like he's with a client all the damn time, so that makes it like weird too, So yeah, but it just wasn't fun. Like we'd be doing it, and I'd be thinking of like, when is this gonna end? And I'm like, if I'm thinking that, it's over. It's time to stop going. I don't think that yet with the music, like if anything with the music, I think more from a fear perspective. Like I could do something else, you know, like instead of starting, you know. But once I start it, then I stay
Yeah.
there. You know what I mean? So,
So what's gonna be the reincarnation?
probably shit like this. Probably like just conversation. I'll hit up people randomly, or if they hit me up and want to do it. So. But yeah, stuff like this. Cause I found this more enjoyable. I ain't really know what we was gonna talk about. That's
Yeah.
it. So catching up. So yeah, I still wouldn't mind them coming on too, like every now and then, with no topics, and then we just talk. And I think that might be more enjoyable too.
Yeah.
Probably more with Duke too, because I don't talk to Duke as much.
Mm.
Like I talk to Philip a lot, like almost like a lot, like during the week. So I think too, like we might have just exhausted ourselves, you know?
Oh, I see.
Because everything dope that we wanted to talk about, we talked about already. So like
Yeah.
by the time it comes here, now we just putting on a show. And I don't like talking about stuff. So I'm not gonna
Mm.
bring up certain things, you know, like so
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah. Mainly it. Like I want to kind of be more about that too. That's why I ain't forcing the music thing, because if I ain't feeling it, I don't want to do it. Like, because all these things are like in theory supposed to be just fun things, you know. So if I don't want to do it, don't do it, you know, and don't worry about it. The beat battle ever
Mm.
feels that way. That's why there was a big gap in the bit, because it just felt like this is, you know, like everybody was just kind of showing up whenever, and then no one would. There was like a week where just everybody did their own thing, and it was just like no one emailed the beat. They were just posting it here, doing it there, and it's like, man, it's not even y'all first time. What the fuck y'all doing? And it's just like, if y'all make this like work for me now, it's like I ain't even want to do this. It's like I'm keeping this alive because literally some of y'all keep asking me to do this. So it's just like, if this turns into a negative experience, well then I don't want to be here now. You know what I mean? But Willis really
Mm.
likes doing it, so he kind of, I think now that it's back again, I feel like it's a big credit to him because he wanted it. So, and I do enjoy
Mm.
the ending where people just share their works in progress. I think that's just to see what people are working on. I don't post that on YouTube either. That's people's real shit. But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just post the battle and that's. But
Mm.
yeah, man.
All right. So you
That's it.
don't like difficult things in life?
Not for the fun shit, right? like, like that. That
But
doesn't
maybe
make
sometimes you have to go through difficult things to then
for sure.
get to
But
the
what are
next
you
level
asking
of
that
fun.
question in context of? It's
You just
probably
kept saying
partially
if
a
it
troll.
becomes difficult, it
Well,
is
I didn't say
partially.
difficult. I meant like negative. Like
Okay, so you don't like negative stuff in life.
who does?
I mean, it's just part of life. Sometimes you gotta go through it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I think because
So you think
again,
he'll keep
if we talk real
focusing?
quick, we talk about understanding, right? The self, going back to earlier. Like if it's something you really want to do, then you will overcome whatever thing it is. But it's
Hmm.
if I don't want to do it no more, and I'm letting that experience stop me, then it's revealing that maybe I don't really want to do this. You know, like one of the things about me for this is it's probably both a positive and a negative because in theory you could always be like a first. Forgot what it's called, but person who does something first, you know. But like I have a thing where like I do always want to be unique. That's probably harder now than ever before. But if a lot of people are doing something, then I probably don't want to do it myself. You know, that's probably why the music
Mm.
sounds a certain way too. You know, it definitely sounds like me. Like
Yeah.
I made it for better or worse. You know, but like yeah, like now everybody and their mama has podcasts or podcast variation too. You know, so it's like If I'm not
True.
getting joy out of it, I think the existence of it is not enough. You know, it needs to be something cool, you know?
Yeah, I see.
So now, like, we don't talk a lot in terms of with our voices. I guess on Messenger, but with our voices. So I think this is enjoyable because now we're doing an actual catch up. I just happen to hit record and maybe post it somewhere later after, you know? And the same thing with all those musical interviews. Like, I don't,
Yeah.
nearly 90% of those people wasn't around like that, even though I'd be seeing them in the scene, you know? So it was just cool to
Yeah.
learn, you know? But, like, so I'm still getting something out of it regardless, you know? But in the world right now, everybody does this and stuff. And then also people take it way too seriously. Like some of those people, man, like it's happened recently with, they do kind of orchestral stuff, I guess. So I guess image or whatever. But like, this is what I'm saying. They were mad that when they're like doing a whole rebranding. So maybe deleting their old shit, which you know I'm not about, like deleting their old shit so that they can
Yeah.
start from new, so they can be an overnight success. You know that bullshit. And they're like, "Hey man, can you delete the interview we did? Because it always shows up before any of their shit because you know I guess it has more views and likes or whatever. Like it's just been there before, you know." And it's like,
Yeah.
you know, there's many ways that used to bother me years ago, so much because like I guess I was maybe tying my self esteem to my art, you know. So I'm like, what the fuck, like I
Mhm.
can't use it. Um, so that's one of the negatives of always doing things that involves other people, by the way. You know, like if they
Mhm.
care too much, eventually they ask you to hit delete. But but yeah, now like it still bothers me for like a minute or two, but I'm more of the mind like, look man, if you don't want to fuck with me, why even want you on my shit anyway? You know, so I'm kind of like, cool,
Yeah.
it's gone, fuck you. You know, like I had a DJ, dude. A DJ asked me to delete his set. Because again, the same reason. It was coming up before any of his shit, you know? He's a drum and bass DJ. A drum and bass DJ, dude. Like, who, I guess when you type his name, a drum and bass set of him DJing pops up, but it just happens to be on my channel and not his. And it's like, it's not like he killing the game with numbers either. He's from Austin, just local. He's not, you know, nothing big. But he was like, hey man, can you delete it? And then man said personal reasons. At least everybody else is honest. He said personal reasons. I just did it and then I just wrote done. And then yo, I guess this is what I'm talking about, awareness sometimes. Sometimes people don't have awareness with how they interact with people. All I said
Mhm.
was done, right? That's it. I didn't say mad, angry, nothing. You know, this motherfucker is like, all right, cool. And if you want to follow like any other thing, he tries to literally get me to follow his channel and shit. To if you want like more drum and bass, and it's like, fuck is wrong with you? It's like you literally asked me to delete something for you, like you know, like let's just say let's call it like my art that happened to have you on it, and then you're like, hey, but you should check out my art. No, it's like, man, you got like no awareness for what's going on. It's like can't read
Yeah, but
into.
you know what, man? Maybe that's the mentality we need to have. You know, we just
Okay, so you're not wrong there, and
ask
I
for
don't
what
give
we
a
want.
fuck.
We ask for
Yeah,
what we
yeah,
want.
yeah, yeah. There's a bit of the selfishness, maybe. At the same time, you're a DJ, right? And I don't know him like personally enough. Maybe he does make beats, but
Yeah.
he's a DJ who plays other people's music. That means his whole art is relied on somehow getting an okay from people, you know, like
Okay.
because he has nothing original to present outside of the fact that
Mhm.
he presents other people's music in a certain way, you know. So it's like you should be aware right off the bat, you know, because all you do is your own interpretation of other people's art, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
come on now, son. But he ain't probably never thought of that, you know. He probably just like
Mhm.
DJing's dope bass, you know.
Yeah.
So but yeah,
Gotcha.
I don't even know how I got to that. Venting out our musical frustration.
Yeah, pretty much. We're just coming off as a bunch of haters.
That's good though.
Or
That's
especially
good.
me,
That's
I'm
good.
coming off as a hater.
But I
Every
think
time I
that's good
start
though.
talking,
I think that's good because I feel like in 2021, man, with way too much self-acceptance. which is cause I'm funny because I was talking about that. But like a lot of the media I loved was people hating. You know, I'm big into wrestling right now. Not like watching wrestling, but like the lore of the past wrestling and hearing certain podcasts and stuff. My favorite podcast is Jim Cornette. This motherfucker, super hater. Just super hater, you know, but it's like he's old man now, like, and clearly he doesn't go to these events because I feel like some of these people would fuck him up because it's not just like that sucks, you should do this. It's like that sucks, motherfucker, piece of shit. You should do, you know, like it's very like I'm like, man, clearly this guy is like crossing boundaries right now. But I think also he has no intentions of ever working in this industry and ever meeting this person. So I'm like, but like I feel like a lot of that type of you know, media, like I don't know, it's frowned upon a little bit too much now, you know, and I'm like, and sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. Like, I don't know, some of it is a bit like, look, it's just entertaining.
Yeah.
Sometimes like this PC world, sometimes I think even that is bad. Having opinions is bad, but you know, you know, like
yeah,
I don't know.
that's true.
If you a hater, be proud you a hater. That's all I'm saying.
Alright. Well, anybody listening to this, I hate you.
Yeah,
specifically.
There you go. The 5 people who might hear this, there you go. He hates you.
I'll probably listen to this just to hate on myself.
There you go. That's that reverse shit. Is it like math? Like where sometimes 2 negatives make a positive? So like that's how you get self-love by you hating on yourself in the present, so yeah, you can hate on yourself in the future, and that's proof of your love of yourself. Man, that's that IQ right there, dog. That's that.
Yeah. You should think on that one for like I'll probably think on that one.
That's the bars right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Anything else?
Nice. No, I think I'm good if you're good.
Yeah, man, pretty much. I like that you got brick walls, dude. Look. Shout out to brick walls.
Yeah. Yeah.
It looked like you out in these comfortable streets, you know, because you got a couch, but there's a brick wall behind you with a painting. Brick City, dog.
Yeah.
All right, dude. The last words?
No.
No, that's the that's the last words. No. Are you gonna do the beep out if I give you the sample early?
Yeah, I should do it. You're right.
Yeah, just do whatever, dude.
I have been doing some reflecting on my life, and the stuff that I have felt most happy with is the quick decisions of just doing.
Yeah, man. I could give it to you early, and then whatever you do is whatever you do. And if you do them enough of whatever you do, eventually it might be something you actually like, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, man.
All right. Yeah. I'm gonna do them.
Cool. All right, dude. Podcast stuff. Oh, wait, no, that was the intro. It's been a while. It's like, how do I end these? I don't remember how I end these.
This is one of those special tracks where you gotta listen to it backwards
it's a loop.
to get the full.
It's a loop.
Yeah.
Bake that chicken, smoke that turkey. Boosh.